Peter Lindgren's and Edwin Haddadian's Rivals series really set the bar high when it comes to short filmmaking. And I can't really recommend Peter or Edwin doing anything different when it comes to filmmaking because I'm still learning from you guys, so thank you. But I can look at the most important thing when it comes to fiction short films, and that's the story. So, to review the story from an objective pair of eyes, let's start with the most important question. What is the story about? If you don't have a story that you can sum up in one line, then it means you don't really have a story. You have a mess of things, and chances are that things won't really clump up together. If we strip away all the action and the cool action lines that Peter has, I mean, it really gives me the vibe of Terminator, but the character itself of Terminator, of Arnold Schwarzenegger, meeting Mortal Kombat. Fight! In any case, if we strip it all away, the core of the story is a hacker that sends people to the Rivals program, and Peter gets involved in all of that and saved by Edwin. So, when we have the story in mind, let's look at the short film again and review it with a fresh pair of eyes and see what we can remove or add to enhance the story. One of the biggest questions I have to ask is, why do we show Oscar so much? It's very nice that we have sort of a closure for all of Peter's B-rolls. I really love that. But it doesn't add anything to the story. We don't really want to show anything about Oscar because later on Oscar fights Peter and ends up dying. We don't have any closure for him, we don't have any story. Also, Peter looking at the missing persons ad of Oscar is also relevant because later on when he walks the premise of Rivals, he sees all the fives and all the numbers that show that someone has been trapped there for over 2 years. So that alone shows that someone is there. The fact that he picks up a weapon shows that he's lethal, and that's all we need to know about Oscar. We don't need to know anything about him gambling or drinking scotch. So we need to cut all that off. Regarding James Matthews' scenes, they were awesome. I wouldn't want to remove anything. I would actually want to add a scene. And that scene could be sort of a map of Peter relating to his glasses, Edwin relates to his mask, and Oscar relates to a walkie-talkie, let's say. That combined with the fact that he's been there for 2 years when Peter walks the premise, and the fact that he's armed, will be sufficient to tell us the entire story that there's a villain there that was there for 2 years, he was stuck himself and probably had no other choice but to fight. Also, you can use this to add future characters. You can put the same scene at the end of Rivals, and apart from showing that James Matthews is actually the hacker, portray future characters such as myself, or maybe more known YouTubers like Peter McKinnon, for example, in his pocket knife. He would have loved to have his pocket knife as a thing of Rivals. The cool thing about this thing is that it shows that there are items that are related to the Rivals program that relates to people. It also adds some dimension to the story itself. Sort of like hacked real-life items. The James Matthews reference is a great foreshadowing tool because in a movie, when an audience sees something or when you portray something in a movie, an audience assumes that it has some importance, that will appear sometimes somewhere later in the movie itself. So if you portray anything and it doesn't appear anywhere later, the audience will feel cheated. Displaying James Matthews is a great foreshadowing for what's to come, that the hacker himself is James Matthews. If you like this video thus far, press that like button because Peter himself might see this video and press the like button himself. If you do, hi Peter from Sweden, a big fan. Thank you. In this specific scene, I think that if Peter would have searched for the glasses a little longer, you know, adding that tension, it would have added more impact to the story. Because although this is YouTube and we need to keep your attention constantly, when it comes to a film, sometimes you need to stretch things a bit to add some more tension. Again, it's subjective, and write down in the comments below if you think otherwise. Let's talk about Peter battling himself to not take the glasses and to put them. Let's talk about Fast and Furious, because there are 9 movies. I didn't watch the 9th yet, but I will, and I watched all the 8, and I'm probably one of the only people in the world that watched all the 8, but you could assume that some people watched the 1st, the 2nd, maybe none of these, and just the 7th. But you need to end up treating your movies or short films just like a small microcosmos of their own. So people might have not watched Rivals 1 or Rivals 2, so this would be a really great time to put flashbacks of what happened in Rivals 2 to remind the audience in a very gentle way what happened before, to show how Peter battled himself before and how he ended up taking the glasses and almost hurting Edwin. And in the meantime show up how he felt power, how he felt strong, and that would be his motivation and his real reason to pick up the glasses again. The rest was great, I didn't want to add or remove anything. So, what did you think? I think it really elevated the story and put the core right at the center. Thank you again for Peter and Edwin for creating this rival series. I really can't wait for the fourth one. Hopefully it comes out pretty soon because I'm dying to see it already. Please add some more great action. If you've enjoyed this video, I suggest you watch these ones that YouTube recommends and subscribe because I have a whole lot of react videos to YouTubers who make short films. That's a lot of fun and I'm really enjoying it. So thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.